friends, it's Claire from ScrappyNerdUK and welcome to the next instalment of December Daily Directory. So this is where the fun really starts. This is where I'm starting to make some filler cards, some DIY embellishments, and starting to prep for my foundation pages. Foundation pages are going to be up later on this week, and I'll show you that I'm doing this in preparation for those. So I'm going to show you some different techniques that you can do to make your own filler cards if you are doing the 6x8 or any sort of pocket life, pocket page December daily this year. You could also make these and use them in a traveller's notebook just as well. Or if you're going all out and doing scrapbook pages for December daily, then again, these can be accommodated in many, many ways. So, excuse me, I'm losing my voice already and it's only the start of the video. So I'm just starting with some, I've just cut down a 12x12 piece of white cardstock into 12 pieces. Would that work out at, if they're 3x4? So these are all 3x4 sized, and I've just chopped them down and I'm going to work with some stamps and some different embellishments to create my own filler cards. So bear with me whilst I do the stamping. I'm just showing you how easy it is to create your own with stamps. So there's a few techniques that I show you here. So I did that ho 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 card, so just repeat word, but we will come back and embellish these cards later on in this video. Now, one of my favourite films is Elf, and one of my favourite lines is when Buddy the Elf said, "Santa, I know him." And that's my really bad American accent right there. So I apologise to any of my American friends that are watching for that really poor interpretation of an American accent. Yeah, apologies. But that is my favourite line from the film, so I wanted to include that. And I'm sure I'll do a layout about that film and I can use that card on there. So next up, I'm using some stamps. These are Ali Edwards stamps, and I used one that said Dear Santa, and this one here that says December. Now I have an idea with that December one, I've done a couple of those, with that December one to use it as a number card. So I want the numbers in my album to go onto some of the cards. I want some of them potentially to go loose, or some of them to be able to be interactive elements that you sort of add in extra. And I'll show you what I mean when we get to the foundation pages. So next up, we're going to have a look at some repeat stamping. So I've just grabbed this stamp that says "'Twas the night before Christmas," and these are all Stampin' Up inks. And I've gone with, the colours match perfectly actually in terms of the collection that I am using. And if you haven't seen the bits and bobs that I'm using, then there is a video in the playlist showing you my kit. If you haven't yet got your kit together, don't worry, there's still plenty of time. And there are two videos. There's one that helps you put together a mini kit and one that will help you put together a fuller kit, if you're like me and like to use all of the things. So you'll see here I've just randomly stamped this, and I've got that random gap in the middle. So I've just made sure that I only inked part of my stamp in order to fill it in. And again, we're going to come back and embellish these very shortly. You could leave them as is, but I'm a all or nothing type of gal, so I'm going to add extra bits onto these, but not too much because I don't want it to be too over the top. And I know in previous years you've got to be really careful because my albums are so bulky because of the amount of embellishments that I've included. So I'm trying to keep that in mind whilst doing this. So there I've just stamped that little Christmas tree sentiment stamp, and I'm not overly fussy if I get the most perfect clean stamp. No one is going to notice, no one's going to be looking at it. So although I did stamp it once and it really wasn't clear enough, I just turned it over. It still wasn't perfect the second time. And I think that's just from the quality of the stamps. That's more the problem than my ability to stamp properly. Yeah, because I think that was from a cheapy stamp set, like from a free one from a magazine. So That's going to be the best that I'm going to get. Same as these. So those stamps there are from Hobbycraft. I think they were like £1, so cheap as chips. So next up, this little Santa stamp, which I love. So I'm just going to stamp this so it comes off of the card, because I do still want some cards that will give me the space to add some journaling as well. So although quite a few of these are going to be filler cards, you can actually adapt them to however you want to be able to have more space if you want to add in more journaling. That's completely up to you. So we're going to do another repeat stamping one here, and this stamp here that says Deck the Halls, and I apologise that this is so far at the bottom of the screen. I think my camera got knocked and it's facing slightly further up than I should have had it. So all in all, looking at the time of the videos when I recorded these took me about an hour. So in the grander scheme of things, and they could have taken me less time, I've sort of watched this back and realised that I was faffing a lot. So if you just make the decision, you find something, make the decision, stick it down and move on. But yeah, you can create these in an hour. So if you really are struggling for time, then this will be a perfect little project. And it's great to be able to include something that isn't, that's not shop bought, not pre-made, that you can actually do yourself. Of course, you could do this on pattern paper if you wanted, but I like the clean look on the white. So that technique there, I've got all of these little word stamps, and I've just lined them up and stamped them down the right hand side of that card. Now apologies, I'm not too sure what's going on with my lighting. I've said it before, it flicks in between white and cream. I think it's because my desk is white, or my desk has got like a creamy colour and the cards are white, so I think the camera does struggle to pick up, with the studio lights as well, I think it just struggles to pick up the correct lighting. So I will go back to using my Tim Holtz media mat, because that seemed to stop the problem, albeit then get the glare. But hey, I'll figure it out and fix it going forwards, hopefully. So next up, we are just going to have a look at embellishing these now. So as I said, I'm not going to go massively over the top, but I do want to add in some chipboard and some words and some ephemera if I can find some. So here I'm just going through my little chipboard pieces, and since that card says Deck the Halls, I added on these little ornaments, or baubles as we call them in the UK. Baubles. That's a funny word. Next up I was going through the chipboard again, and I love this December 25th chipboard piece, but I am going to end up cutting that down slightly, which you'll see in a second. These are washi stickers from the Holly Jolly Christmas collection, and that one that said Mr. Claus, and then I found this little circle Santa. So because it's a clear sticker, I popped it onto some white card and cut around it, because it's just, you get the black O coming through, and then I use that as the O for the centre of the middle ho, if that makes sense. I don't think I've ever said that in my life before. So next on to this one here. So this is what I mean about the number cards. So I've pulled these numbers out. These are the Chamel ones that I'm one of the ones that I'm going to use this year. I'm using these ones. I'm using a pink paisley pack from, I think it was called Merry and Bright. I'm also using some Studio Calico paperclip numbers that have been hanging around in my stash, along with some Studio Calico white acrylic plastic numbers. So you'll see those coming up in other videos. So the schedule for this week is jam-packed. We have DIY filler cards today. We have some more filler cards tomorrow, but a different variety. So we're looking at cut file fillers. And then we're going to have a look at some DIY embellishments, and then we are going to move on to foundation pages. So we're going to build everything that we need, and then we're going to put them all into the album. Now the foundation pages shouldn't take that long once all of these are done. So rather than doing sort of foundation pages day 1, day 2, day 3. I'm making all of these filler cards, and then I'm going to add them in to the album rather than the other way round. So I don't have to sort of sit there and think about, you know, day 1, what am I going to include? I've got these cards ready. I've got some other bits and bobs ready as well. I won't spoil the surprise because that'll be coming up the next couple of days. And then we're going to put it all together at the end of this week. And then next week, I think I'll just do, I've got one video scheduled, for just a quick flip through of the whole thing. And then we're going to be good to go, because then it's going to be Christmas, right? And I'm so excited. I love this time of year. So I'm just busy gluing all of these little chipboard pieces down. And as I said, trying to leave some cards where I've got enough space to be able to add some journaling. I really struggled with this because green, yellow and brown and orange to some extent are not my colours. So anything with that colour in, I find it really difficult to use. But equally, because there's like a green in the paper pack, and I know that if I don't use it, it will just go to waste, I do want to try and add it in. So I'm forcing myself to include the green colour this year. Because I went with I didn't do it last year, I did December Daily the year before. And the year before that, but there was no green. It was pink, it was blue, no, like a navy, like a purpley blue, a grey and a rose gold. And then the year before that was just a mishmash of stuff, because I'd only started scrapbooking that year. So yeah, so this year I'm going for the colours that are in the paper pad, matching my embellishments in with that. So that tree one there, very, very simple. I've just added on a star, and that's from the Chimel thicker pack as well. And I've got these little tabs from the Holly Jolly Christmas collection. And that one there said Our Tree. Now, I always believe if a card looks unfinished, add some staples. It just makes the world of difference. So I just added that on. I could have glued it on, but I thought just to give it a little bit of interest, I will staple that onto the card. On to the last couple here now. So this one here, the Santa I Know Him one. So I've just added on a piece of ephemera and a couple of those stars just to pull the theme throughout. And then this final one here, it's just a simple Christmas tree chipboard piece, and then popping a tiny word sticker on the top. And then I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse, a little bit of a close-up at each of these that I've created. So I hope this has given you some inspiration and ideas as to some DIY filler cards that you can make yourself. Very simple, very easy, takes very little supplies. So I thank you very much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow.